Hi there, I'm John Bowe.
His mother's kitchen table.
Yeah, it doesn't even have a firewall. At 100 miles an hour, the helmet just starts to...
Opening on February 1st, 1937, the Rob Roy Hillclimb was the first purpose-built hillclimb in Australia. Cut out of the bush, it included an uphill 607-metre graded dirt road. In 1937, the track was sealed and became one of only 3 bitumen surface purpose-built hillclimbs in the world. The other 2 being the Shelsley Walsh and Prescott courses located in the UK. A run of Rob Roy starts on a slight incline, through a sharp right off Camber turn, which originally passed a rusty iron shed, named Tin Shed Corner for obvious reasons. Then goes down a slight incline to a level stretch along the top of an embankment holding back a half-acre dam. The track then winds its way uphill into the newly added left-right-left chicane, into the uphill left-hand turn 3, to the finish line. Seemingly simple, with most lap records averaging under 30 seconds and only 3 corners, you can be forgiven for thinking Rob Roy was an easy drive. However, the deceptive off-camber Tin Shed Corner, huge elevation changes and a relative blind entry into turn 2 make Rob Roy very hard to master. In 1962, the area was ravaged by bushfires, and unfortunately, the track fell into disuse. In 1992, the MG Car Club was successful in obtaining a 10-year lease on the property, and reconstruction of the track began, which involved relaying the entire surface, improving access roads, and the installation of guardrails on the causeway. The result was a faithful recreation of the original track. 8 of the outright and class record holders at Rob Roy Hillclimb have been Australian Grand Prix winners, and one of them a triple Formula 1 world champion, Sir Jack Brabham. In November 2009, the giant PBR brake shoes, originally from the Templestowe Hillclimb, were erected just before the start line at Rob Roy. June 2022 until March 2023, Rob Roy underwent extensive upgrades, one of which was the creation of the chicane between turns 2 and 3. It also received an entire track resurfacing, and unlike Phillip Island, Rob Roy has added permanent multi-tiered spectator seating. With its rich history, challenging course and vibrant community, Rob Roy is a celebration of speed, style and spirit. See you at the hill.
Welcome to the stunning Yarra Valley here in Victoria. The cars are warming up as we get ready to welcome the 3rd Rob Roy Revival. This event's been brought to us by the MG Car Club of Victoria, but make no mistake, this isn't just a normal hill climb event. This is an opportunity to be able to celebrate the golden era of motorsport from the 40s, 50s and 60s. It also marks 100 years of Ford in Australia, and we've got a collection of cars that have shaped our motoring heritage, including the GT40 that's been brought to us by the Fox Museum. The event is also an international event as we welcome people from across the UK who are also going to be competing here across the weekend. This is going to be a fantastic event, so make sure you sit back, enjoy the nostalgia of the Rob Roy Revival.
There are many different hill climbs in Victoria. We have Rob Roy, like we are right now. We have Bryant Park. There's Mount Lura. There's a whole stack of them, and it's all about grassroots entry-level motorsport. So basically, it's a timed run. You start at the start, ready, set, go. One car on the track at a time. You get to the end, you get timed, and you are in different classes. So you have up to 1600, over 1600, open class, all sorts of different classes. Basically, what that does is allows an entry-level driver to get used to pushing their car to an absolute limit, and hopefully no one gets hurt.
I'm standing here with Gerry, and he's got his Ford Escort here. Now, it's in Mexico, though.
Yeah, it's in Mexico. It was a model that was available in the UK and Europe, but never available in Australia.
How did you actually come across this car? Because it's quite a story, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was interested in a Mexico, and they're not being available here. I was on an international online car sales thing, and I saw this come up. Unfortunately, it was in Athens, in Greece.
Unbelievable.
And I sort of dismissed it, that sort of dreaming a bit. And I kept on looking at it every month or so, and it was still there, and the price was going down. And so I eventually sent an email, and the guy was an English guy who had owned it in England and moved to Greece.
Yes.
So that was good. We could correspond, and told me all about it, sent me a couple of magazine articles on the car, and I really liked it. And we eventually did a deal, and I flew to Athens for a couple of days to have a quick look at it. And then I found out that because I wasn't an EU citizen, I couldn't export it. So he was in the export business, believe it or not. And he said, leave it with me, we'll organise it.
Because I'd imagine that would be probably the moment that most people would have to walk away from a deal like this. But
well, there was a lot more to it, because I arranged through a Greek panel beater friend of mine to transfer money to his cousin in Greece.
As you do.
So I could go to the bank and pay the guy. But of course, immediately I advised the guy in Greece I'd done that. He said, don't send any money to Greece, because that was when Greece was in a real bad way. And
wow.
So I had to transfer the money back out again.
You're lucky you got the car by the end of it.
Well, lucky I kept all the money.
Yeah, that too. Now, tell us a little bit about the car, because this actually has the F-block in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the Mexico model was developed after Ford won the London to Mexico rally. They used Mark I Escorts, and because of the problems they'd had with the twin cam engine in the Lotus Cortinas in the London to Sydney, they looked around for what other engine they could use.
Yes.
They decided to use the Crossflow because it was a simpler, easier engine to work on.
Yep.
And they were worried about the altitude and the petrol quality in South America.
Yeah, okay.
So then when they decided to use the Crossflow, they said, well, what's the best Crossflow we've got? And someone said, well, we've got this special 1850 Crossflow that we had developed for racing.
Yes.
And so they said, well, we'll use that. Now, I believe they only made 300 or 400 blocks.
Wow.
I didn't realise at the time, but this has got one of those engines in it. So
it's sort of the gift that keeps giving when you sort of open the hood and that's what you discover. I mean,
yeah, well, it was 1850 cc, so it was 165 horsepower. The engine was built by Bowe.
Yes, right.
Was quite a screamer. It revved to 9 grand.
Incredible.
Which was good fun to drive, but it was a bit hard on the...
Now, you've actually rallied this yourself. So you've also had a pretty decent, well, better than decent co-driver who's had their own history. So
yeah, well, Bob Watson, former Australian rally champion, is a member of our club, the Historic Rally Association. And there's a bit of banter between the Ford Escort supporters and the Datsun 1600 supporters. And Bob's a mad Datsun man.
Yes, he is.
Even though he's driven Fords in competition before. And anyway, I approached him one day and I said, Bob, how'd you like to drive my Escort in Targa, Tasmania? And Bob, to my surprise, agreed. So as far as I was concerned, I was going to be co-driving for Bob. And a couple of weeks later, he rang me and he said, look, I've had another think about it. He said, I still want to go to Tassie with you, but I want you to drive. Which sort of stunned me a little bit. Anyway, we went off to Tassie and we run what they call regularity.
Yes.
And Bob just loved it, and I did too. And to our surprise, we won our first event.
That's extraordinary. Like because you also had a bit of a hard luck story down there too, though, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I think it was our third or fourth Targa Tassie event.
Yes.
We were leading the classic on the last day. 6 days. 6 days of Targa on the last day. We're halfway through the day, leading our class, and we dropped a cylinder. Unfortunately, it broke a valve spring, which caused other problems. And although we drove over the finish line, but we're out of contention, of course. Anyway, the motor's taken quite a lot of work to get it rebuilt, and this is its first real run since it's been rebuilt.
And you went out and had a couple of runs this morning. So you did the warm-up lap, and then you got a little bit of a surprise because the warm-up lap was a little bit different to the first run.
Yeah, well, the warm-up lap, they didn't take us through the chicane, and the first run was through the chicane.
I would imagine that's not really the surprise that you want to be having when you arrive at the top of the hill there.
Well, I watched other cars and I thought, oh, they're braking, they're turning off the track. So I knew we were going to use the chicane, but the chicane's a little bit different to what you think it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a bit of a shock, but I've just done the second run and it went really well.
And was a 28, was it?
Yeah, 28.6, I think. So still got a bit more to go, but I'm pretty happy with that. And I mean, it's not really a racing car. It's a road car and obviously I try and keep it sort of well presented. But yeah, pretty happy with that.
It's a gorgeous car. It's certainly one that sort of caught our eye when we were walking around because, like I said to you earlier, it's one thing seeing a Ford Escort, but I personally hadn't seen the Mexico. And when you explained, there's a good reason for that, why we haven't had the opportunity to see these in Australia. So pretty fortunate to own one.
The Mexico stripes are very popular, so there's a lot of cars with the Mexico stripes on them, but I believe there's only about 5 or 6 real ones in Australia.
Yes.
Which is a pity because they're basically an Escort twin cam with a crossflow motor instead of the twin cam motor. So very, very simple, very basic car, but quite popular.
I think, like most of us, it's thank you for bringing the car out and letting people be able to enjoy the car, and especially when there's only 5 of them around. So thank you very much, mate. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for being here, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so also in Hillclimb, they changed the circuit. So one run might have the chicane, like here at Rob Roy, we had the chicane, and then sometimes there are no chicane. It can be a totally different circuit. So like at Bryant Park, they go counterclockwise, clockwise, figure of 8. They change the way it runs. So I'm in the pits with Andrew and his 1949
MGTC special.
MGTC special known as Fritz. Now, this car has an amazing story. You've got to tell me not all about it because we don't have that much time, but as much as you.
Yep. Okay, so I've had the car for a couple of years and pulled it apart and gave it a bit of a freshen up and a repaint. Fritz Norden campaigned this car for 65 years. He's number 3 car club member for the MG Car Club, forming the car club. So it's a very important piece of Australian motor racing history. Unfortunately, Fritz does have dementia, so every now and then I take him out for a ride in it, and he loves it. So that's a good thing. The car itself was the first TC special to have a Weber on it. They nearly hung him at the Sporting Car Club in the 1960s for having taken the SUs off and putting a Weber on. It's done amazing things like 1961. It's got it did Mornington or Mount Martha after seat Hillclimb.
Yep.
It's done that. There's a whole list of campaigns that it took on. Some of the tracks are no longer here in Australia anymore, like Templestowe.
And the original Morwell Hill Climb
The
track?
original Morwell Hill Climb, that's gone as well. So,
Sadly gone.
Yeah, so so basically we've tried to keep it as original. The dashboard I promised him I wouldn't stuff with.
Now you have the dashboard, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a kitchen table.
Yep, so Fritz at one stage decided that his mother's kitchen table was actually going to make a nice dashboard for his TC, so he cut it all up and put it in the car.
And it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does. It's within its period, and I did promise him I wouldn't mess with it, but I've replaced a lot of the instruments and we've rewired it obviously as well. So yeah.
I think the only thing it needs is like a coffee stain or something like that, or maybe a pack of cigarettes sitting there or something.
Yeah. Look, I try and drive it on the road as much as possible. That's why we've got indicators on it, because these never came with them. And in the modern day car and drivers out there, they really need indicators because the old hand doesn't work for them or for me. So
yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, so,
now I have to ask, this bit on the back here. What is that? Is that for torsion bar or something?
No, it's just for a spare wheel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just take it off for the weight.
Here's me going way too complicated, and it's a spare wheel.
You're looking into it too much.
Yeah.
So
I have to note the Weber
yep.
versus the SUs.
Yep.
Better? Well, I mean, obviously tuning-wise, it's...
Tuning-wise, it does stay in tune, like once the jets are set, that's it.
Yeah. So no weekends, just with the vacuum gauge doing the thing.
Unfortunately, it does like avgas.
Who doesn't?
yeah, that's right. So unfortunately, we can't get that anymore for motor racing, which is a bit of a bummer, but I've just run unleaded high and put some octane booster in it. So
you can't just put some wings on it and pretend it's a plane and pull up at the airport?
Well, maybe. You never know. They might believe anything. Who knows? So
this is an MG Jaguar, obviously.
No, it's you might think that when you see the leap, what they call the leaping cat on the front. Cecil Kimber in the 1930s designated 30 of these to be made for the MG 18100s, they were called, which was a 6-cylinder 1930s vehicle. And when Fritz bought this particular TC, it had that on it. So it's a very rare piece of history.
So it's not a Jaguar, it's a Tiger S.
Tiger S, MG Tiger S. And the rumour is obviously that Jag, many years later, started copying it. So
look, to be honest, it looks exactly like a Jag, Jag logo.
You're not the first one that has said that. So yeah. Anyway, bit of interesting facts. So we put it on today, just to give people a bit of an education.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah,
it is a beautiful car, mate, and you've
you.
done a fantastic job with it.
Yeah, thank you.
And
mate.
now you say you sprayed this yourself.
Yeah. Pulled it apart and painted it at home. So yeah,
you've done an amazing job, and it's a credit to you.
When I was a young bloke, I worked for a classic car restoration place. So he taught me how to spray paint and panel beat, but he probably never paid me. So it's amazing what sort of practice that you get, after many years of going back to it. So yeah, so it's just painted in acrylic with clear over base.
Yep.
And it's just suit the period.
Well, I'll tell you, it looks factory. So you've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Yeah, good on you.
Right.
Cheers.
Thank you very much for your time.
Good on you. Thanks, guys.
I'm here with Bill and I don't even know how to explain this. This is an amazing feat of engineering, but look at this thing. It's a tiny little frame and it's got a 5.3 litre Oldsmobile V8.
That's correct.
And that you're expected to get the through there?
And skinny little rear tyres, or skinny tyres all around.
What's the story behind this? This is just amazing.
So my father built it in the early 50s, and specifically to go hill climb racing, which was very big at the time, and what they called sprint meetings, which we'd now call quarter mile drags. It first raced here in 1952. It's a chassis of his own design. It has 1927-28 Series 7 Lancia Lambda sliding pillar front suspension. Think of big motorbike telescopic forks. Lancia Lambda rear axle and Lancia brake drums. It's got a 5.3 litre overhead valve Oldsmobile engine, which at the time was one of the early American overhead valve V8s. So
Yeah, an overhead valve was a big deal back
was
then
a big
too.
deal. Yes, so it preceded the small block Chev, which he bought new as a crate engine. I think I might have said it's got an early Jaguar Moss box.
So that's a 3-speed?
Four speed,
Four speed, sorry.
No
4 speed.
synchro on first though, so tricky. And it's the close ratio version. As I said, chassis of his own design. He drew it up on his father's garage floor, sort of measuring out where the various bits were going to go.
That's fantastic.
He raced it from 1952 to about 1957, and then it was becoming uncompetitive. So, and I was born, and then my brother was born.
And
so
the typical motorsport thing where you end up with
correct.
putting it aside and
That's
family
right.
time and
Exactly, and
Yeah.
a mortgage and all of those things.
yeah.
Um,
But then you got hold of it.
Well, fortunately, he'd never sold it. So it had been sitting around in pieces, and I mean literally in pieces. And unfortunately, he passed away when he was quite young. And then all of a sudden, he couldn't say to me, "You're not touching that," which he'd been saying every time. I said, "Come on, Dad, come on, we've got to get the car back together." And he,
So then it was just a case of mine.
well, that's right. That's right. It's all mine now. And my brother, wasn't. Well, he's interested, but he wasn't saying, "Well, it's half mine, and I'm going to do something." So I said to put it together.
Do you have to share the keys? Does he ever ask to drive it?
No.
Good.
I've offered on many occasions.
Seriously.
Yes, and I just can't convince him that he should have a go. Anyway, his loss.
That's fantastic. Now, I did notice the lack of roll cage or any body panels.
Yes.
Are you pretty much limited to just doing hill climb in this car?
Yes, hill climbs and sprint meetings. I could enter regularity, so at Winton, Sandown, Phillip
Seriously?
Island, yes, but I can't go circuit racing. But he didn't build it as a circuit racing car,
Okay.
so it's geared for hill climbs and sprint meetings. It's not geared to do 130, 140 miles an hour down the main straight of Phillip Island.
I certainly wouldn't want to be in this main straight of Phillip Island. Yeah.
No, well, it's interesting, in a quarter mile sprint where I've got plenty of runoff, at 100 miles an hour, the helmet just starts to, I go, oh, I must be doing about 100.
Because the only thing you have to break the wind is 2 air cleaners.
That's right, yes. Yeah, it doesn't even have a firewall.
Well, it's fantastic. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Oh, my pleasure.
Good luck. I'm here with John, and is this your first time hill climb racing, John? Oh.
No. I'm not sure I'm going to race, but I'm here as a guest of the MG Car Club. I did a hill climb in Tassie in 1977,
Okay,
and that's the only time.
so it's been a while.
It has been
You'll have to freshen up on your car skills.
I think so, mate. I think so. Yeah, it's been a long time, but I love this event. The guys, the MG Car Club, do such a good job of it, and it's enthusiasts that come here with all sorts of unusual, wonderful old cars. So yeah, I love it.
Amazing event.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who aren't sure, this is John Bowe, Australian motoring royalty.
National treasure.
Yes, national
that's
treasure.
What the bloke called me last night.
That's fantastic. I'll use that. So one thing I wanted to ask, and it's something we sort of in this channel we promote grassroots motorsport.
Yep.
We really want to. I want to get an idea from you. How do young kids, young people, even young drivers get into motorsport? Because it seems to be the one thing that is. It seems to be unattainable for some people.
Well, it depends where you want to go with it. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to make a career out of it, you've got to start with a very wealthy parent. So that's not always the case. So I always encourage people to either get involved in karting or get involved with some sort of historic racing like this, because it's not only hill climbs. You can do historic race meetings. There was one at Phillip Island a few weeks ago. You know, start at the start. Don't try and start 3/4 of the way up the ladder unless you've got a lot of money. If you've got a lot of money, well, there's a different path. But motorsport should be about enjoyment, and generally this sort of level, it is about enjoyment. I've been talking to these people. There's fantastic stories and, you know, great history. It's just, I, you know, genuinely love it, and I've raced at all sorts of levels. So.
Yep, there you go, from the man himself. Thank you very much, John. Thanks for your time.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
Thank you. So how good was that? That was one of the best hill climbs I've been to in a very long time.
It certainly was. And that was a place that I heard stories about from my father before we even went, about back in the day, pulling motorbike engines out of bikes, obviously, and throwing them in just Frankenstein cars to go up the hill.
Yeah, like bed frames with motors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, I hadn't been there for ages. The upgrades are amazing.
Yeah,
That chicane, awesome.
yeah,
Awesome, even though some people got caught out.
they did.
But the place itself, brilliant. The event,
The festival.
oh, so good.
The amount of people there in period costumes, the food, the band, the mud runners.
Yep, so good. And everyone was friendly.
They
Really,
were.
really, really nice event.
And speaking of friendly, I mean, obviously, John Bowe. How good was he?
Look, I'm not a Ford fan from back in the day. Like, you know, I probably swore his name a little bit too much at the TV, but
To you.
what a nice, professional, friendly guy. The conversation we had off camera was, I mean, it was. I know it was a short interview. I didn't want to take up too much of the guy's time. I thought he was busy.
Correct.
He literally talked for we talked for 40 minutes. I think we eventually said, all right, we've got to go get some food.
Yeah. His knowledge and being able to recall things was what was also extraordinary. So
I wish we had got that on camera.
Oh, so while we were waiting and just patiently for John, he was having a conversation with a couple of gentlemen standing there. And one sort of started to pick a bone with John. He sort of said, "Now, Mr. Bowe, I've got a bone to pick with you." And you could see the look on John's face, couldn't you? And he's starting to hear the story, and he's going and asking him about a specific car that his father had. And he knew everything about that car.
He knew where it was.
Yeah, the whole history of it.
Like, I was amazed when he said, "Oh yeah, that car is currently with blah blah blah." And I went, "How do you know that?
Yeah,
This car, you didn't research it. We research so much stuff all the time,
of course.
But he knew.
He just
Top of his
knew.
head.
Just true gentleman.
Yep.
True gentleman. So thank you to John.
Yep, amazing, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Like I said, we should have recorded all of that, but
Where are we to next?
wow. Let's have a look.
Let's check it out.
It's reading time.
It is
Story time.
story time. Story time with David and Simon. That's a scary thought. But what isn't? Nyora Raceway, Anzac Day. We've got the Pro Sprints on the April 25th. That's the Junior VSC Standard Saloons. It's also got the VSC Sports Saloons. It's also the Victorian Mini and Lightning Sprints state title.
There you go.
Yep.
Lots there. That's good. Phillip Island Auto Racing Club is holding round 4 of the Victorian Hillclimb Championship at Bryant Park. That is on the 27th of April. So that'll be a huge day there.
Yep.
It should be really good. If you're not sure about details or whatever, go to the website, which is hillclimbvic.com.au. All the links are below.
Yep.
In the comments.
Perfect. Friday the 9th of May, we've got starting at 6 p.m. through to 10:30 p.m. out at Calder Park. We've got the drags and the roll racing. So drag racing in the streetcars in a safe and controlled environment. So for those people wanting to get off the streets and stop being hoons, ruining for the rest of us.
You can't stop being hoon, but you can minimise it. A little guy that sits on your shoulder.
He's always going, yeah.
Just quiet him.
Yeah. Go do this instead.
Yeah, exactly. Round 2 of the Victorian Rally Championship is up at Newgie. Just up the road.
We've been.
Yeah, the Ada Rally is the Ada River Rally.
And if you don't know that area particularly well, they've got the Ada tree out there too, which is
that's
huge, massive tree, great walk.
Ada thing.
Yep, just don't crash into it, guys.
Yep. So if you're unsure about it, go to the Vic Rally website. They've got heaps of information there telling you where to go, not that way, but actually telling you where to spectate.
Sounds good.
And on that, don't forget that all the rally stuff, everything we talk about with rally, it's all free. Yep. Free. Like free for spectators.
Yep. Got a couple of hours to kill.
Yep. Just stand in the bush and get thrown rocks at.
Yep. And then there's good pubs.
The 10th of May, the 2025 Peter Stevens MVMX Junior State Titles is at Winton. The Winton motocross track. All right, so we've got the 50cc, the 65cc, the 85cc, the 125cc, the 250cc, and the girls 85 to 250 cc.
It's a lot of CCs.
Yes. You feel like chips now?
I feel like need some guac. Yeah. All right, the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championship, which is round 3 at the Phillip Island. So this is Friday the 16th of May starting at 7 a.m, so it's an early start, through to Sunday 18th of May at 5 p.m, so it's a big weekend of racing. They have the Hyundai XLs, they've got the HQ Holdens, historic touring cars, Formula V and Formula Fords, historic touring cars, Porsche 944 Challenge, and the improved production with the Vic V8s as well.
And that'll be like $15 to get in, like the last one.
It is $15 to get in.
Yeah, if we're wrong,
don't sue us.
Don't talk to someone else.
Yeah.
Should be $15.
It should be.
Yeah. That's a huge lineup, though. That's the same as what it was at the Sandown.
It was. Absolutely. So you'll see a lot of the same people down there. So.
Cool. Awesome.
All right. More Speedway. So Rosedale Speedway on the 24th of May. So we have the mechanics race out there. And following the mechanics race, supporting it, we have the open standard saloons. We've got the ladies standard saloons. We've got the junior standard saloons. The Vision 2 hot rods, and then the VSC 1200 juniors as well. So the kids get in there and have a crack as well, which is brilliant to see.
Yeah.
More of that. More of that.
Yeah. We want. That's how you get kids involved. 24th of May. AMX Superstores presents round 4 of the Pro MX Championship at Traralgon Motocross Track, Loyang Park, which is a great venue if you have never been there.
I haven't.
Fantastic. No, we should go.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
Go to these events.
And Deniliquin Sporting Car Club.
Say that again.
Deniliquin Sporting Car Club. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Are holding the Victorian Motorcana event at the Deniliquin Motorsport Park, which to be honest, I didn't even know it existed.
Oh, there you go.
Don't tell anybody, but wow. So I might have to
go
up and
check a couple of thousand people.
So. Yeah. That is at 182 Larkham Lane, Deniliquin. Entry for a Carnacross free.
Yep.
Which is great. A lot of these, like I said, a lot of these events.
They usually are. Or really cheap anyway. That's it.
Done.
That brings us to an end, doesn't it?
I think we're...
Glasses are off.
It's serious time.
Real serious.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think we're done.
Done. Too easy.
All right.
See ya.
See you next time. And then Cuts to this.
You know the difference between me and you?
I make this look good. So what do you do?
I'm the talent.
You're the talent.
You're the good-looking one, apparently, and I'm the talent.
Well,
Yeah. I keep f***ing this up.
is, and I'll add more stuff to this later.
Do you want me to slap you?
No, God, no. Fall over.
This event is being held. Me, I can't get this right.
That's all right, I'll edit this.